So we're here with the Reverend Sam Leach, who is the Vicar of St Mary Magdalene, the current Vicar of St Mary Magdalene. So, of course, we are making a film about the very first Vicar at St Mary Magdalene and how the church came to be. And obviously this project has come out of the Inspire project that came about because of the lottery funding that St Mary Magdalene got in order to do a whole load of stuff. Do you want to tell us exactly what was involved and how this particular project came into being?
Sure. Well, thank you. We knew even before I arrived as vicar that there was some significant work that was needed in the church. There often is. They are big old buildings, fantastic, but needing a lot of work. So already before I came, Nick and Ali Ford and others were looking at possible sources of funding. But we knew that we didn't just want to do stonework, as important as that is to stop lumps falling off on passers-by. That was done over the course of the summer, actually, during lockdown. But into the bid, we put all sorts of different events using creative arts and different community groups and schools and local community in the living room to really engage people, to bring more people into the building, hopefully to connect them with the heritage and something of the culture that we have here. And that's why we got National Lottery Heritage funding, but also to connect them with what's happening here now. This, actually, I've become more and more excited about.
We were commissioned by this church to do a little theatre piece, which was going to be a 40-minute local history piece, taking the history of how the church came into being on your Heritage Day. But of course, because of lockdown, everything changed, and it's sort of grown into this sort of fairly ambitious full-length feature film. Unish Community Drama works specifically with the ex-homeless and recovery community of Torbay. With the new lockdown, things are pretty dire. We have a responsibility, obviously, though, to our folk to try and keep them engaged.
How we run the sessions under lockdown.
But we need to do it socially distanced, and like EastEnders, I think we need to maximise and make a point of the fact that the characters are socially distant, that we've done this in lockdown.
Will we be within the rules to do it?
Rules are that we can still meet with 15 people.
Okay, so all things on Zoom for the next 7 weeks.
We are not going to get the film finished by March.
Which is, what do we do about the filming schedule?
Yes.
I think what we need to do, Roz, I think we need to come up with a really, really clear protocol that it's got to be minimal people on set.
Yeah.
But make sure they're all PPI'd up and all the rest of it, and that we have absolutely the bare minimum people. We presented the timeline of St Mary Magdalene and how that developed with the unappropriated pews issue and Charles Dawson leaving his money, and then also a timeline of the history of Torbay with the cholera epidemic and specifically the bread riots.
Come quick! There's a body here, wait.
And David.
Oh my
I
you look so cold.
I lost my job in a big house.
Oh, thank you. So I can change my will. Yes. Because that everything must go to the church. Who's everything? I'm not stupid. I'm dying.
Mr. Dolby, are you sure he is of sound mind?
Of course I am, woman. Has it been written down? Yes. It's my...
And then we got them to improvise scenes that would join the two narratives together.
I brought you these. I picked them up on the downs.
When you're reading it, okay, you are reacting to how the end product has come out.
My name is Olga Petrova.
Foreigner, is it? Oh, I see.
I tell stories, true stories.
Okay, well done, guys. Well, that's great.
Molly, I had no idea the marshals let you go as well.
You two characters have had a terrible time, and sometimes people just do a little joke to lift their spirits.
Why would I not, Art? I am so helpless now.
Right, dear fellow, and I can draw up a codicil within the next few days.
Okay, well done, very good, very good.
My job as bishop is to safeguard the liturgy and the value of the Church of England here.
Oh my gosh, I'll
Was
tell
that
you.
any better?
Mark, it's fab. We had a very good costume team who did a lot of work on the referencing for authenticity for costumes of the 1840s.
Got one underneath.
He's got his jeans on under there.
Whether he needs a jacket. That's the one. We just had to make a few, like the bishop's costume and collars and things like that. And we were very grateful to Dawlish Rep and specifically Toad's Little Theatre, where we sourced most of our costumes. We did have a great team. Yeah, just tight like that. We were quite concerned how we were going to keep the public from rubbernecking, and came up with this great idea of using Merry Mags as a hub where we would get all the characters dressed in their costumes, and then we'd transport them to the location. I had a very clear vision of what I wanted the film to look like, and we wanted to use local locations. So we took the film crew on all the places where I wanted to film, and it was fantastic. Beacon Cove, Thatcher Point, Hesketh Terrace, and we were able to actually get permission for all of these places to film.
My small contribution towards the film really was working with Martin and sourcing the locations that we were going to use for the production. Martin really had identified a lot of the locations that he wanted, or ideas that he had, and together as a team we approached those locations to see if they would let us film there.
He can remove or cover or whatever to modern books. Sat in a window seat here, looking out. Have you read this type of thing? And it's like a close-up.
We can film one this way,
yep.
The other one.
Firstly, with the pandemic and everything, a lot of the locations, or some of the locations, were a bit hesitant about allowing us on their property. Bygones was one of them. We were hoping to film a scene in their Victorian Street, but understandably they were a bit unwilling to let us in. So we had to source somewhere else.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah.
You know, lit. The idea is, he can get up from his chair.
Yeah.
But on the other side, a lot of the outdoor locations like Hesketh Crescent and Cockington, they were more than willing to allow us to record there, as long as we stuck to COVID regulations and had our risk assessments filled out. So they were very willing. The council also was very willing.
And then cut to them walking around the corner. Where this is the bit where Stephanie and Annie and Molly, she's been taken in by a cousin. That's absolutely fab. And doing the whole scene here in this corner.
Yeah.
And then she's that side.
Originally we were hoping to start filming just before Christmas or in January, but then as the second lockdown came in, a lot of the plans and organisation that we'd made into starting filming had to be shifted into the March. So what on paper sounded like a quite simple process, there was a lot of behind the scenes work that went into that.
I came up with the idea of approaching street pastors who were really accommodating, let us borrow their street pastor's van. And so while our actors weren't particularly in a particular part of the scene, they could sit on the street pastor's van. We had originally drawn up a schedule that lasted 2 months, but with the second lockdown, we ended up having to actually condense the whole filming into 6 weeks, just over a month, which was a lot of work. We had to reschedule all the locations and make sure we were able to have permissions for everything. We did everything under proper COVID rules. We tried to make sure that everyone's socially distanced, that when they weren't acting, they wore masks. We invested heavily in a really good cinematographer. Johnny Finnis Films came highly recommended, and oh my goodness, what an amazing guy he was. I mean, literally the product that we've ended up with, I think, is so fantastic because of his professionalism. All our guys, massive achievement if you think that some of them have never acted. All of them pretty much are in recovery. All of them have incredible stories to tell on a journey of rehabilitation, and so it was a really big step up for them to really step up to the plate and to act in public. Tristram Adams, we've worked with him before. He was the guy who brought in with the drone. Lovely guy, and he did all the drone work for us. He's a local cameraman who does weddings, and my goodness, it just really added such a great dimension to a lot of the transition shots. We started very early on in the morning. We normally started filming at 8:30, so we didn't have a lot of general public rubbernecking. We were really fortunate over those 6 weeks to have really good weather.
To say, sorry Annie, there are no places available today.
There's no places available today. Anna, you know the
We
rules.
used Churston Church as a double up for St Saviour's because we felt that St Lucius Street was too public. Stephanie, our lead, was incredible. If you think that she's never done any acting, even in our previous productions, she just really came up trumps. John Aggott, who played Charles Dawson, great actor. Funny thing was when we first approached Chris Hodson from Churston Court about hiring a four-poster bed, when we firstly made the approach and said we wanted to hire a four-poster bed for an afternoon for a private film, I think he got the wrong impression and thought we were filming a porno.
Church is really livelihood. He's a very popular vicar.
No.
We filmed at a big house up at the Lincolns, which was really fantastic. A friend of mine owns this amazing house, which is like stepping back in time with lots of Victorian memorabilia. We hardly had to do any set dressing for the scenes with William Kitson and Lawrence Polk. We took over a street at the back of the Merlin in Torquay High Street. I think when the cast walked down from St Mary Mag's, they were shocked at how authentic it looked. And again, we were really blessed with fantastic weather. The lighting was fab. Again, we got up really early. We had everyone on set by 8:30. We just didn't want to waste the light, and we also wanted to avoid lots of people, again, rubbernecking what we were doing, which we cordoned off with bins, and we spent a lot of time trying to make it really authentic. We went there very early, painted over a lot of the graffiti. We got a load of horse dung, straw, and we made these fantastic lines of laundry, which just really brought the scene to life. We borrowed a lot of the props from Toads, who were really helpful, Anne Jordan and her team. Barrels, wheelbarrows. We spent a day at Churston Court. As I said, Chris Hodson was really helpful, opened up the hotel, which of course was shut for us to use, which we used for the interiors of the vicarage shot, the exterior of the vicarage shot. We used a few extras. Folk came in from our action team to sort of dress, but on the whole we did a couple of big ensemble scenes. Olga Petrova's scene was a great scene. This part was written specifically for Alla, who's one of our pillars in our group. She's a wonderful lady and she is Russian, so it was great to write that part specifically for her.
Foreigner, is it? I see.
She wants to tell our story. Baby, you should see her other children. He puts his face into action, that man.
One of my only sadnesses was Jude Earnshaw, who's one of our action team, kindly stepped in for Lady Marchington. We did have covers for most of our main characters, and we got through 3 Lady Marchingtons. One of the first lady who was cast had real anxiety and so stepped down, and then the other lady who turned up, unfortunately, hadn't learnt her lines.
But this is not the sort of publicity and exposure Torquay needs.
Richard, look what's just arrived in the post.
What is it?
We used the chapel at St Mary Mag's as the Bishop's office in Exeter, which was a fantastic double up with these incredible, authentic Victorian candelabras. And also the interior shots that we did for the scenes with William Wales.
Went before you. We feel especially.
The final day of filming was the big celebration scene, which comes right at the beginning of the film, and we hired a cherry picker so that we could get some really good high shots. Again, it was another ensemble day where everybody who was involved with it was part of it. We made sure that all the crowd scenes were socially distanced, so they quite obviously look as if they're 2 meters apart, but we had to keep everybody safe. This was a wonderful day. We did a lot of filming on this day. We did the graveyard scene, the celebration scene, the bishop's scenes, and the stained glass window scene. It was a long day, but we got it all in the can. We had a grave specific dug for us, which looked really authentic. And obviously Blair Story played John Penny, who was actually the gravedigger at St Mary Mag's and is buried there.
My name is Anne Davey. I may have nothing, but I'm a God-fearing woman.
Now, you're playing Annie Davey. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your character?
Annie loves justice. And she's come from humble beginnings. So she relates to people that are the underdog, those who are coming from the ground up, basically. And I see Annie as they come up from the ground, she gives them a helping hand to rise to their feet, so to speak. Yeah.
And your character, you are the main character in this film, which we've completely improvised from scratch during lockdown. And so we've got real characters like William Kitson and Lawrence Polk and Bishop Philpotts that are real characters here in the history of Torbay. Yeah. But your character is made up. So do you want to tell us a little bit about how we came about putting her character together? Because she sort of like joins all the dots, doesn't she, really?
Yeah. I think, well, basically, there was an Annie Davey, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And
we know nothing about her.
We do not know anything about her, but I think the whole thread is Annie pulling the whole thing together through her embracing.
Yeah. We wanted a character. We wanted to try and find a character that would pull all the different aspects of the story: the cholera outbreak, the bread riots, the Irish potato famine, the building of the church, all together.
Yeah.
So that's what your character really does, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, can you just tell us a little bit? Because when we started improvising and we started casting, how did you feel about the character? Because this is partly how you got the part, isn't it?
I literally did feel like Annie. And
can you tell us why?
Because I lost it all. I became homeless, and I'm part of a fabulous church community. And as the Lord was beginning to rebuild my life from scratch, they give me a cleaning job at the church, and I just know that feel for having a servant heart. That humbleness.
I mean, what was fantastic though was as we started improvising and you were part of that whole process, was it just seemed like the character of Annie, there were so many modern parallels with your own individual journey, you know, from recovery right through to, you know, being offered this job at the church.
Yeah.
I mean, how's that made you feel that now you are the star of the show?
I just love Annie. I don't even actually feel separate from her. I actually feel like I am Annie in a way.
This is so lovely. I mean, which is why in the end I think we gave you the main part, because actually there's a real resonance in your performance.
Yeah.
Which really is like, you know, looking at the story we've written, because in many ways it's your story, isn't it?
Yeah, and I just felt like it was just God's embrace to me, and then I could just then run with it, because losing everything it hurts. There's no two ways about it, and it's a process of rising from the ashes. Is, you know, it's not easy, and so I can feel that for people who are struggling now.
Yeah, well,
it's not easy, but yeah.
Well, you've done a fantastic job. Tell us why you really used to come to Unleash, Stephanie.
I came for the donuts and the coffee and the chat. I came for the company. I'm sorry. I meant to up at one of the big houses in the Warburys, but because of the cholera, they had to let me go. And
we rehearsed all the scenes at Mary Mag's in small groups. So 2 weeks before they were called, we would rehearse really intensely in just groups of 2 or 3, all socially distanced. Stephanie, I was amazed at. She was a revelation. She's been associated with Unleashed for a long time, but has never acted, never done a part. But we gave her the part because her story resonated with the character, and my goodness, did she do well. She pitched up, always knew her lines, and was always on time, and I was just really pleased with her performance. So Steph, you need to sort of slightly get more. Oh my gosh, I've been discovered. Doing the knees. Don't you?
Give us a lie back down.
Yeah, stay lie down. Start from the top. Cameras rolling.
I suppose it's just another form of cleaning the place up.
I can pretend she's there though.
You have. Sorry, Annie, there's no places available today.
Please. So kind of you. You don't need to explain. Yes, you've got those lines.
Okay.
We need a call to action.
Here, Annie, what are you going to do?
Oh my, it's a body. You've been involved a lot with Unleashed, haven't you?
Yes.
Do you want to just share a little bit about how you got involved? And
Well, basically, I was in the homeless hostel, and you came in and you said to me, "Do you want to do acting?" I thought, "No way, I just can't do this. I don't feel I'm right enough to do it. I'm not well enough in the head to do it." So I started to come, and eventually I started to become more confident. And I thought, "Do you know what? This is quite good." I thought, "I think I can do this." And I went to bed and I was sleeping, and I've got tics, and I've got, I shout and scream at night, and it's a really horrible thing for me. But when I'm acting, I just don't do that. I can go to bed and I can sleep, and I feel great. And I think, wow, no doctor could help me with any of this.
And
you
you
know
joined
what I
the
mean?
choir?
And I've joined the choir, and I love that as well. I'm so happy. It's made me happy. I'm happy.
This is great. Well, Angela, we are happy that you're in this because you're
and
doing
I'm really happy, you know.
so well. My goodness,
Yeah, it's a great
fantastic.
feeling. Do you know what I mean? I'm just so happy, and I get excited. I'm
Yeah.
excited about my life.
Good, this is great. We've got Blair here. Now, Blair, obviously you've been involved with Unleashed for several years, and my gosh, what an actor. I mean, you played the common man in A Man for All Seasons. You're amazing in that, and you've been in other stuff. Do you want to just share a little bit about, what Unleashed means to you? And of course, now you've stepped into this role, which is fab.
Well, Unleashed has been part of my life for about, as I say, 6 years. Recently, I haven't been around so much, but the place is a blessing. When you get together with these guys, you're talking about people who are in addiction of all sorts of, whatever it is. There's nobody's judging anybody. We come in there, we all start off a bit scared, and I mean, you find a family. It's something that you never forget. I've been blessed to be around some great people with Unleashed. The actors I've worked with, that you've introduced me to is just, and they brought me on, mate.
You have done so well, Blair. I mean, you're a natural. I mean, like Blair stepped into this role like less than a week.
There you are, woman. Is that my breakfast?
Yes, John. There we go.
It was so great to have Angela on board to agree to do this part. I'd known Angela for several years, and when I first met her, she was in the homeless centre. To see her acting and doing so brilliantly and see the journey she's been on just did my heart good. It was fantastic to have Blair Story back with us. Blair stepped in last minute to cover for someone who dropped out, who we couldn't find anymore. Bless him, and he learnt the part in literally just 2 days and gave a fantastic performance.
There you are, woman. Is that my breakfast?
Yes, John. There we go.
But you got no home? All right, I'll let you come, but I need you to get yourself sorted out, mate.
Dear William, you are too kind. When I heard you speak in such a way, I thought, of whom were you speaking? Surely that...
And you are playing one of our lead characters. You're playing Prebentree Richard Wolfe, who was the very first vicar at St Mary Mag's Church. So, mate, what is it like being in a film?
Oh, it's brilliant. I never thought that I'd get an acting career. But I've really enjoyed doing the filming. I found it really comfortable playing the part. Easy. My lines I thought would be hard to learn.
Now what about the process of learning them lines?
Well, I was a bit worried about it. I put it off and I put it off. But once I started, I actually picked it up quite quickly.
Okay. You're doing a fantastic job, really fantastic job. So tell me, how did you get involved with Unleashed? Because I mean, you've done quite a bit. You've been with us a few years now, but you came and then went and then came, didn't you?
Yeah.
Do you want to explain that?
Yeah, the first time that I came was in 2017 through a treatment centre, but it didn't work for me. So I went out for a bit, as I do. And then I came back when I went back to the same treatment centre.
Which was Jattis, wasn't it?
Yeah, Jattis Project in 2019, which I stayed there for 19 months.
Yeah, good.
And I started doing the drama club again, and it helped me a lot with my confidence and being around people from all walks of life that have all got problems.
You know, we all had some kind of connection, and I found it really helped me, and I enjoyed it mainly.
Yeah. So how does being in a film compare to being live on stage?
I was more nervous being on stage because it's all eyes on you. But this, it's been really comfortable, you know. Thinking I'm going to be famous next.
Well, you might be. You don't know who's watching this, do you?
Exactly.
She works at the London Illustrated News. She's a Russian, quite a character.
Nice to see you. Look, she brought me these flowers. Oh, that's a kind gesture. I've named many children in my industry. I'm happy to bow to your experience and expertise. I have named many children in my ministry, but never a building. I'm glad to see you. I was just admiring the stained glass window you created for us. What you're looking for? I know. I'll write to my cousin straight away. Mine. He's planning on bringing down a shipment of bread and flour from Exeter in the next few days. Eccentric, but very talented is of Britain's richest resort. Children living in conditions barely fit for a beast. Good for Annie.
To Catholic.
You worship. Named many children in my ministry, but never a building. So, I am grateful for Anne Davies.
So could you be...
By these wonderful, very generous gifts.
Of our beloved vicar and friend, Richard Wolfe.
To have benefited from your natural skill and acumen.
The illuminations from the evening sun create an atmosphere of peace in the sanctuary.
I particularly wanted Jacob to view your proposals before that meeting.
So guys, it's the first time we've ever done a film. What's it been like for you? Let me ask you first, Wayne.
I think it's been incredible, somewhat nerve-wracking, but very well orchestrated. And that's it. Helps us just kind of fall into place with what we need to do, this, that and the other. Quite calm. I think it's been very calm. That's been really good. It's been fun, new, I guess, exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, good. And what about you, Mark? Because you've only been with us a year, haven't you? My goodness, when you walked in a year, did you think you'd be playing one of the lead parts in a film?
Never dreamt it in the world.
You've done really well,
No, I
mate.
feel really honoured and privileged to be part of Unleashed. And today's film, it's been a lot of learning. You know, I've learned something new, how everything works, and being mic'd up and learning your lines. It's been quite difficult, but I got
Hey,
there.
you've
in
done
the end.
fine, it's all good,
Yeah,
it's all good.
But now I feel really, happy. I'm glad I've joined Unleashed. It's been great to, an experience that I'd never thought I'd, you don't expect it, and it's changed my life. It's helped change my course, meeting new friends and, being part of the community.
Yeah, because you were in a bit of a state last year, weren't you?
I was in a bit of a state. I was down on my knees, and I've been blessed and privileged to meet a lot of beautiful people who've given me the strength and helped me along the way.
Well, mate, it's so good having you.
Thank you.
And Wayne, what about you? Because, obviously you've been with us several years and you've done lots with us. What would you say makes Unleashed different to other theatre companies?
The community drama is very, very welcoming, and that is towards all types of people, not just this or that. I feel like they're non-judgmental, they're very helpful, and generally quite a good laugh, which is good. And you make us want to come back, which is very unusual. Like, you wouldn't get that from a normal theatre company. That would be very stressed and very, very intense and whatnot, this, that and the other. You wouldn't really feel like you could grow. But I feel like with the theatre company here, we can learn to grow and get better and build our confidence, which is a really good thing for me and many people here. So yeah, that's basically it.
Well, guys, thank you for joining us today. My goodness, you are both stars.
I'm very happy with the result. The new church in Upton will be designed by none other than Anthony Salvi.
Mr. Kitson, the pleasure is all mine. I am very grateful to us all.
Walking through the door, okay? He's got his portfolio under his arm, he's got his plans under his arm, which he's going to put down on, and then he will open them out.
It smells like watermelons.
It does. So lovely.
No.
No, I'd like to get, obviously, I mean, Nick has cleared a lot of this, so obviously...
Stained glass windows.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Can he come in and come to where you are?
Yes.
Let's get it. Action.
Ah, see the conquering hero arrive. Thank you.
Its pure and simple lines of tall buttresses and arches, I think, fit the briefing perfectly.
Generous donation of £10 towards the build.
Here, I've designed the church in the early English Gothic style, as I felt the deck.
I will not be defied. My job as bishop is to safeguard the liturgy and values of the Church of England.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your character, Bishop Philpotts, and what's it like playing a villain?
Right, well, Bishop Philpotts is the total opposite to me. It's probably why it's a lot more fun, because it's the complete opposite of who I am. And what I did was I did a little bit of research on Google, and I got some information about him. And, you know, I just sort of found out that he was, two words really sprung quite instantly to mind. One was aggrandising, and the other was polemic. So it was really a bit of a nasty piece of work. So in terms of character, that was pretty much him. And then I sort of thought on the personal level, his persona, and I came up with my own phraseology that I see him as a seething mass of hypocritical intransigence, which is a lot to say. It's probably more lines than I've got halfway through it, but you know, it's one of them. And I basically just become that person. I just get into nasty
your
mode.
performance, I have to say, is really fab. It's a highlight of the film because it's all about contrasts.
Yeah.
And obviously our leading lady Annie is a lovely character.
Absolutely.
And you are polar opposite to that.
Absolutely.
But listen, mate, you obviously have been part of Unleashed for many years now.
Yeah.
Do you want to just give us a little brief understanding, because now you are also one of the leaders of the Thursday group.
Absolutely.
You know, tell us a little of your story.
Yeah,
Briefly.
well, very briefly, by the time I came to the group, my life was pretty much in bits as a product of alcoholism. Absolutely. I've been an active alcoholic for 45 years. I just started my road to recovery, and I happened to be introduced to the group. And in the last 5 years, things have gone from strength to strength. And from a gibbering bit of a wreck who managed to stumble his way through the doors 5 years ago, you know, as I speak to you today, what you get is what you see.
Which is someone who's really got his act together, and my goodness, is someone who we all love and look up to and respect. I mean,
After the debacle with your now famous resident pure collector, and your willingness to associate with, how should we say, the underclass of the English Riviera.
Burnett, have you lost grip of your senses? Has engaged an artist to depict the loss of poor families living in the Pimlico district. Nothing too, Catholic. But I jest, my dear boy. But you have proved yourself. Burnett, this is not the sort of publicity and exposure Torquay needs.
My job as bishop is to safeguard the liturgy and values of the Church of England.
Houghton Abbott. This sort of publicity is not what Torquay needs. A solid saint's name, I think. Nothing too, cat. You have indeed proved yourself.
Mary Magdalene? It was meant in jest.
Your worship.
It is a matter of urgency that I see you.
And how are you keeping?
Pure. So what's it been like being one of the main parts in The Rich and the Pure, Martin?
It's been very interesting. We learned a lot about the history of Torquay and Torbay just by reading the script. Although my part's quite short, really like throwing myself into it and trying to learn it with character. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
And you've been involved with helping backstage. You were with the team. There was about 4 in the team to get ready for the big street scene. So tell me, what was going on there then? What did we have to do to make that scene really work?
Well, unless we're going to get arrested by the police, I was doing nothing. I wasn't there, but you were doing graffiti, painting the walls out.
Painting out the graffiti?
Painting out the graffiti.
You turned up with a load of horse dung and hay and stuff.
I did, and loads of bags to clear up and a big broom to sweep up after, which I did, which was nice.
Yeah.
And being part of actually getting it all dressed, because it would have been hard if it was just you on your own. And I like doing things like that. Scenery is good
bless
for me.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one bit where I didn't tell you this, but when you all disappeared and I stood waiting, the bin men turned up and I had to take it all back down again so they could empty the bins and put it all back together.
I didn't know that.
I'm good
We
at-
barricaded off the whole of the end street with all the bins, didn't
all
we?
the wheelie, and yeah, the two
Yeah.
lots of wheelie bin men
No,
came
well
down and
done,
said,
mate.
"Where's my bins gone?"
Well done.
But it was good. And then cleaning it up after and putting the street back the way it was,
Bless you.
best I could.
Well, listen, Martin. Also, you've been involved with Unleashed for quite a few
4
years.
years.
Is it
4
4 years now? So, how did you come to be with this motley crew, as it were?
I was put myself into rehab because I was having alcohol issues, and I thought the only way I can do this is to get some help. So part of that treatment was to come along to do something to do with drama or various other things. And I did drama at school, and I thought, okay, I don't really want to do it, not interested, but I've got to do something. So I came along, and although I was very quiet at the start, because I was very, very much into myself and not comfortable, within a couple of weeks I started to get the old feelings back, and I thoroughly enjoy it now, and I can't wait every time something comes up. I want to be involved.
Which jacket is this? Is this a spare jacket? We tried to cast our characters so they really looked believable and looked the part in their costume. And I have to say, none more so than Martin Cox, who, as Mr. Swinson's solicitor, looked absolutely fantastic. He just looked so authentic. We were very, very grateful to Hannah and Kirk at Cockington Carriages. They accommodated us for a morning, and my goodness, we got some great shots. Our cinematographer, Johnny Finnis, he used at times some really extreme and eccentric ways of filming.
Stand in front of the camera so that I can see you.
When we were filming at Churston, we tried to keep the teams really, really small. It was quite difficult in the deathbed scene, but the atmosphere that was created was fantastic.
So within the next couple of days, and I will personally see that your wish is carried out. Martin, you're an absolute genius, and without your determination and absolute enthusiasm and never giving up on anybody, most of us would be still where we were.
So I'm really grateful to Martin. Just want to thank you, Martin, for all that you do for us.
Yeah, I think, Martin, great guy.
He manages to get people that are really down and out, to get them to come up and, be something they never thought they could be.
And that's all down to Martin Harris. The man's a miracle worker.
Well, so here we are at the end of the production, sorting through all our costumes, which we've had loaned from many very good-meaning people from other companies, and after a fantastic series of filming in different locations, we've now got to return all of these costumes to their rightful owners. My other part to that was being assistant something to Martin, keeping him in order as much as I could, which was a pleasure. And Jo, of course, without her I couldn't have done half of what we've done. It's been a great teamwork, and we've worked really well together.
Yeah, so I've been helping Ros with the costumes, then trying to herd the community drama and get them organised, and a little bit of TLC where it was needed, and just generally being a dog's body as well.
I am a technical assistant to the whole play and stuff, and I end up occasionally Martin has me walk on with a hat dressed up just to be a walking part.
We've all had a hand in this. We all, every person in this play has had their part in it, and we did it from scratch. It wasn't written by any famous playwright or anything like that. It was written by us. Martin Harris put it together, and it's fantastic.